I always just figured that people would prefer
Yeah,
that. I don't
yeah,
know.
that works for me.
Good, brother. Well, we're here. We had a good stream last week. We had the dudes from Bent Gate on, the guys out there in Oslo.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was like 6 o'clock their time, 6 a.m. their time. They were troopers, bro. That guy's cool. So
I bet.
we're gonna put a double IPA hazy oatmeal beer together, but it's not gonna be out for a couple weeks.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
man. We're hanging out, though. What's up, Todd Porter? What's up, everybody? Big shout out to everybody who's here, man. Another Wednesday. I'm drinking the beer that Adam gave to me right here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but I need to drink a lot because I'm going out of town in like 4 days, and I don't want to have any of it here. So we got some beer we're drinking tonight, man. What's up with you, Adam?
Not too much, man. A little bit of coffee on my side.
I'll carry us again. It's all
yeah.
good, brother. He doesn't drink when he comes on here. I'm curious. It's all good, man. I'll put the team on my back. I want to get you drunk one of these times, though.
I mean, I'm sure it can happen at some point in the future. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing but possibilities in front of us.
Very true. And I'd imagine you work tomorrow, right? I'd imagine a Thursday to you is a
Yeah.
real Thursday. It's not like you have.
Yeah, I'm up at 5 tomorrow. So
Yeah, no, I hear you, bro. I hear you, brother. And what's up, Todd Porter? What's up, Jerry? We got the Brajes in the house tonight. Really quick, man, we had a good stream last week, and I want to give a lot of love to the super chatters and everybody who was here, everybody who watched Adam and mine's video. That was cool. That was fun. Last week's super chatters, Blackwood Brews, 5 more NBCs. Midnight Madness, much love. 2 super chats from him. Ben Marlowe, much love, man.
Back off, War Child.
And
seriously.
then we got what do we got here? We got some members. We got Theron. Good to see him back. Much love. Hobson Dubs Brewing. Super chatted $10, man. Much love. Michael Richards. I think that was a joke from Chris Radiation. And Stephen Plass with a super bomb, man. Thank you for that $50 production boost. And all that money goes into either YouTube videos or my $80 bar tabs or my vacations or my Ubers or some other way it's humanly possible to spend money, man. So shout out to all you guys. And for those who don't know, this is Adam Makes Beer. He's got a YouTube channel. He's the head brewer over at Cartridge Brewing in Cincinnati.
Get over here!
yeah.
And you just you guys were just on Brewbound.
Yeah,
That's a big website.
They just we just signed on with a large distributor, and we're going to be starting to push our beer around a little bit more in distribution. We're going to be hitting more store shelves in 12-ounce cans and some 16s, and primarily in the Cincinnati, Dayton area right now, and then more territory to come after that.
Well, congratulations on that. I know that's a big move. And that doesn't really does that add to your stress? Do you have to increase production now? Do you guys have to increase
Well, you know what I mean? So right now, honestly, I think every time there's change, it increases my stress. I'm not somebody like I may handle it
forward.
I might handle it well on the outside. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, especially change. Change is always tough. It's tough for me personally, and it's one of those things. I don't know if it's like past jobs or different things like that, but sometimes I feel like, I don't know, like I never actually think that it's gonna be what I'm told it's going to be. So if I'm told I'm gonna need 30 barrels of a beer in 1 month, I planned 45. And then in the back of my head, I think I might need 60.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So, it's actually been good though. The ramp up for the whole thing has changed how we've been running production. I've been following a bit more of a pub model where I do some of our standards, but then more one-offs and stuff like that. And so now we're kind of jumping back into that like distro production type thing, and it's been good. I mean, to be honest, it's been. I'll be real honest, dude. It's been better than I thought it would be.
Good.
And I'm not just. And by the way, I would always just avoid talking about something if like rather than saying something that wasn't true.
Yeah, no, we talked about this
You know
before.
what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's one of those things where like I'm actually like right now I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the things about being a production brewer that you kind of have to enjoy to be a production brewer. Right now, we're really tracking down ways to be maximizing volume in the brew house, cutting costs as much as we can without sacrificing quality, and trying to have our schedule on point, man. So I can be successful getting these kegs and cans out the back door. So fortunately, I've got a now. Well, full time Josh is the man back there. Josh is back there helping me to kill it, and we just have we just added a part time dude that's doing some keg washing and some of the entry level stuff for us. That frees me up a little bit, so that's good.
I got to question you in regards to getting signed on with distribution, but having a canning line that's not built for it. Is that on you, or will they come in and supply $100,000 canning line? Is that on the brewery?
No,
you
and
want more, but it's the same one we had. You know, it's 24 per
that's
second.
totally the case. And you know, like, so we're running the American Canner AT1. And again, I wouldn't plug it if I didn't believe it. For any pub brewers out there that are looking for a space efficient way to supply cans, like good to go cans out of your pub, or maybe just to a couple of spots, you know, real limited distribution. I think it's a great machine for that. And that was originally the plan with that smaller canner. And now that we're going to be looking to do more cases and whatnot, we need to. We're probably going to flex kind of to the next step up, look for something that'll get us maybe in the 15 to 20 cans per minute range, as opposed to kind of the super nano end of it.
When I see big canning lines, canning lines got big in the San Diego craft beer scene maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, just watching the shift go from bombers to cans, and I could see really fast.
Bombers, man, it's been a while.
Throwback.
I remember those, and we always got like the big stone bombers out here.
Oh
man.
yeah,
that was
everybody had that.
Go ahead.
Everybody had the bomber machine, and then all of a sudden, people didn't know what to do with it. So I could pay attention and see, you know, this brewery had this canning line, and this brewery had this canning line, and some of them they were, you know, one man. Some of them were a 2-man. And some of them, they were like 3 or 4 guys with a ladder.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just thinking like, yeah.
So you do know, because that's exactly the case. That is exactly the case. Yeah.
I know the reality that cans are very expensive. You need a place to store them. You need maybe 3 or 4 guys on a canning line at some time. That's a lot more labor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the things that I do like about that small AT1 unit that we're using. It takes one person, and you can do everything yourself. Mm-hmm. It's a legitimately so even though it does go slower, it's almost worth it from the aspect that there's only one body on that machine. Because the reality is when you kind of go up to the next one, you at least need 1.5. You need one person full time running, and then maybe another person that's kind of keeping an eye every once in a while. But you know, usually it is 2 to 3. Like we had when we started off, we were leasing an Alpha canning line from, I don't know if they're still Alpha. They may have been bought out by somebody, but I think it was like a 5-head filler or something, and it had like the whole like. I think what they call it, like some sort of cannon or something. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It would drop down all the cans into the thing, you know. And bro, we needed 3 people to run that thing.
Right.
You know, a full on 3 people, because a lot of times it depends. Like if you have that thing rigged all the way out with really killer labeling, collection tables, and everything's laid out really well and convenient, maybe you can get away with having a little less, you know, actual human labor going into it. But most of us don't have that scratch, and we're just trying to get in as lean as we can and get some cans filled, seamed, and labeled, you know. So some of the nicer things to have as far as collection tables and whatnot aren't necessarily in place with that.
And this is assuming your canning line works perfectly, because I remember the trials and tribulations, the frustrations all my friends at breweries had, because it's a thing that no one knows how to work on. It's not like a guy that can work on cars, a guy that can fix your PC computers. It's like, what is this thing? Even the smallest one-man thing, and I don't even know.
They all kind of have. I mean, once the upshot of working with multiple ones is you'll start to see some overlap. You'll see they try to accomplish certain things differently. And so there's definitely different wrinkles there. But I remember the first time I was watching, we were running that new Alpha line. And anytime something goes down on the machine, you have to stop. So that means all that beer that's in the line between the tank and the canner
needs
is
to
warming up.
Paid attention to.
Yeah, well, and all that gas is breaking out on it, and that beer is getting foamy. So you have to purge that beer out of there to get back to the cold beer that was coming out of the tank. And watching the ownership watch all that beer hit the ground when we were doing that, I'm like, dude, what do you want me to say? I mean, this is. That beer's 50 degrees. It's not going into a can at this point,
And what's the process of it? Because it comes in at an angle, kind of like a roller coaster. It's not just like the smaller ones kind of are all right side up and this and that. But the bigger ones, the 3-mans, they come in at.
They'll have like that twist line.
They have that twist line to it. So that rinses it, and then they purge it, and then they fill it, and then they screw it. Because it's not. I thought it was sealed on. I didn't know how cans were, but it's screwed on really
what
fast.
That'll do is there's a center thing that the can will sit on. It'll pop it up onto the spinning chuck that will spin the whole thing.
Yeah,
and then it's a two-part seal. One head will come in, bzz, and then the other head. Bzz. And it's just like, do you guys run a crowler machine at your at the bar that you work at or the brewery that you work at?
We don't. We can, but I've worked on every crowler machine that's out there.
Yeah, it's the same concept that they have on those
from
things.
Left to right.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, but hopefully happening well, quickly, and effectively, which is again not always the case.
That's a scary thing. I mean, not just a scary thing, but that's just more reality. Like, what could go wrong? You have the best beer, you have the best thing, you have a 30-barrel batch of it, and now your canning line isn't working. Because kegging seems like there's a lot less room for error. Just getting these on.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so the canning game thing is like, this thing better be up to speed. People better know how to DIY stuff on the fly. If not, we got to have a guy come out like the day of. It's just a lot of scary things,
Well, and the reality is it is the worst. I mean, it's worse than a keg, and it's worse than a serving tank.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
serving tanks are the best.
It's at least the third best. The third best option. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter, like, so whether you're running a canning line that's 250 or 300,000, opposed to like what they're running at a place like a regional place like Rhine Guys, somebody that's paid well over $1 million. There's a big difference in those lines from a quality standpoint when you're talking about oxygen, when you're talking about sanitation. And so that is the thing. So you can take that beer, and especially when you're making IPA, and especially if you're making like gently flavored lagers, man, those beers are going to get beat up on a canning line that isn't up to snuff, So it is hard. I mean, I don't know. It used to stress me out a lot more than it does now, because now I just know you do the best you can, and it is what it is as far as that goes. But yeah.
And as time goes on, people are going to be figuring out how to work these canning lines better and better, because
Sure.
But it's also kind of like if you're growing and you get the new 3-person canning line, these guys are new to it all over again, So it is kind of a thing that you do kind of have to learn. But I do remember going back to the serving tank thing, because I haven't even thought about that in forever. And it was so nice to work at a brewery or any brewery out there that has a 3-barrel serving tank on wheels, and you could fill it up, get it into your walk-in, and probably you want to do that with your most popular beer. Something that you're not going to.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to do it. That thing that you're just flying through, because it saves so much. It saves so much time. Yeah.
Serving tanks.
Cleaning one vessel once as opposed to all those kegs all that number of times. And then plus then you're leaning on bar staff to have to run back and be and changing kegs isn't the hardest thing, but when you're busy, you want them slinging beer. So
especially on a Monday when you're by yourself and you get that rush, when it's just one person there and you're doing like a $1,500 Monday or $2,000 Monday, that's a lot, and to have a beer not pouring good, or sometimes you hit the thing back and it's still leaking a little bit, or something's over pouring, and you got to go back there and bleed it out, pull it from the Sankey, and then, turn the PSI down. And sometimes, there's like those boogers that get into kegs. If you take a Sankey off, there's like that buildup right there. I mean, that happens. So one of the good things about home brewing is knowing about, or kegging, I guess, would just be knowing about like, how to change lines and stuff like that. Because if you're a home brewer, you could go in and get a job as a, how to change things and this and that. And some people, like if I had a brewery and I had 12 beers on in the back in the walk-in, and I had my manifolds and everything was set to like 12 PSI, I would have do not touch this at all unless you're a home brewer written by every single one of those gauges, So it is a good thing.
I mean, shoot, man. I think I learned 95% of what I know about draft beer from my time homebrewing.
Kegging.
You know what I mean?
Kegging,
exactly. It's all that stuff because it's, it's temperature, it's pressure, it's line diameter, line length. And I mean, that's really, I did do, Micromatic does a draft line cleaning and installation course. I did do that just before I got into the industry, and that was good. But the super majority of that I learned from, grinding it out on the homebrew side. There's
having
so
your own
much
leaks,
utility there.
having your own kegs or your own tanks bleed out and stuff like that. Adam, can you hold it down and engage with the chat for a little bit? I have a lot of beer I have to drink tonight. I'm gonna try to drink 5 gallons. Okay, I'll be right back.
Go grab something. So I see. I think it was interesting that he ran this ferment with the Kveik with the Kveik stuff, because I ran I think he ran Lutra on this, but when I worked at this really small pub for about a year and a half, and I probably turned like 120 batches with all manner of Kveik yeast. And it's really interesting stuff, man. If you haven't had a chance to go and dig into that Lars Gerishal guy's content on that, he has some blog posts online where he went over and met with the dude that he actually harvested the Voss strain from, and he talked about how that guy handles it. I went back and just started doing a very, very similar process to harvesting and handling that yeast there, and that Kveik yeast is interesting stuff, man. It's pretty darn robust. But anyways, holler at me if you have any question, guys. I do see a fair number of familiar names in here. So starting a nano brewery in mind, better to go serving tanks or sixtels. For us, we primarily run sixtels when out for a distro. I think serving tanks are great. Half barrels, kind of. I would be tempted to run it off of half barrels. Go ahead and price that out and kind of see what the difference would be. You would have to make sure that you have a keg washer that can actually wash some kegs for you. But I would just lean actually toward half barrels rather than sixtels, because it's 3 times the cleaning, a half barrel to a sixtel.
3 times the changing for beer tenders.
3 times the changing, yeah. And you know what? Sometimes one of the nice things is for some of that 5-gallon stuff, because that's what a sixtel is. Sometimes you might be able to bring in some of your cornies from home, and if you want to do like little one-offs, like whether you're spiking a beer in a keg, dry hopping in a keg, using hot peppers in that keg, little short things that you want to blast through for an event during the middle of the week. Those sixtels, those smaller kegs, and those homebrew cornies kind of have some utility in that way. So yeah. Hey man, so tell me about that beer. What's your thoughts on it? Were you pleased with the way the yeast performed?
I was super pleased with it. So as far as the recipe that you gave me, the whole kind of thesis for the whole video was going to be the Kveik yeast, the Lutra versus the liquid versus the dry. Couldn't get the Hersbrucker hops. My homebrew store was like, I can get it in a week, and I was like, nah, I got to put out this video. Low alpha acid. Hersbrucker is
Well, you
German.
know what though? I've just been taking traditional German varieties and rotating them in. So I've done Saaz with that. I've done Hersbrucker. I've put Mittelfrüh in there because I don't know those hop varieties all that well. And so I'm just wholesale like subbing a whole different one in on different batches just so I can kind of start getting a feel for it. So yeah, I wouldn't sweat the sub at all.
I wouldn't sweat the hop for that recipe because it's more of a yeast and a grain bill, you know, but if it was an IPA, the rotating hop would stand out more. But I mean, the Holler Tower was like 2.5%. I didn't even know there was alpha acids that went that low, you know. I've never seen that. But the beer is great. You know, I'm such a stickler when it comes to my own homebrew because you always, like if you poured it for me or one of my friends poured it for me, I'd be like, this is good. But when you brew it, you go to the off flavors first. You try to go what's the bad, not the good. It's not like stingy at the end. I think that, I mean, why would some homebrew beers have a metallic-y aftertaste, you know? Is it when you're fermenting in stainless steel? Is it when I'm chilling no boil, you know? But at the end of the day, like, I don't even know if it's like there. I just like think like it's there.
Yeah,
sometimes I taste the bitter at the end, sometimes I don't.
How often do you get that kind of metallic thing? Is that something that you pick up in people's beers often from time to time?
It's probably the first thing that I will think about prematurely anytime I order a beer anywhere that has dark grains in it.
Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you said that. So what I find is so I used to make a red ale, you know, an amber ale back when I first started brewing pro, and I got some feedback from a couple of people that it was metallic for them, and I never pulled it. And the thing is I think that's one of those things that I'm a little bit blind to.
Okay.
Because, and I know some people are blind to different things. So that's kind of what I was wondering is I wonder if you're like a little extra sensitive. That's not answering your question, but I'm wondering if it's something that you're a little extra sensitive to. I'm not completely sure, but when you said some darker grains, I did in that amber beer, I did have stacked up a fair amount of darker crystal malt in it.
Okay.
And I've kind of seen a correlation sometimes between those two things. For some people, kind of some darker crystal malt to maybe a hair of roast.
I need to bring it to somebody else.
For some people pulling that on. What's that?
I need to bring it and have somebody else try it because I'm also an idiot that had a bunch of bread tonight for dinner and I had a bunch of oil and vinegar. So if you have a bunch of like mustard or vinegar, it's going to fry your tongue. So I don't know if I'm just dealing with that from beforehand. Because that's happened before to me too. But other than that, I think it's a perfect beer. I think it's a perfect beer for a beginner to do. I think it's a perfect beer for amber pseudo lager. You know, you could do it pretty much year round. You know, it looks dark, so it could be good for, you know, it could fit in with like the stout brown ale family. I think it's a great beginner recipe. I am going to stop doing no chill boil. I'm going to brew it again and I'm going to see if that does anything. Cause I just think,
so tell me about that process, dude, cause that always blows my mind. So what exactly was your process with that?
So this time around I was going to just knock it out. So, you know, boiled for, what was it? A half an hour or an hour?
Yep, I think you said half hour.
And then, I started racking it, just eyeballing it from the inside of the claw hammer, you know, the increments of gallons and that like that. And I think I got pretty much 2.5 and 2.5. And it's just going to be hot forever, you know? And I always thought like stainless steel might be something that is good forever and this and that. But I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, because I was originally going to put it in my my Keyser and just like crank it up and thought that would work, and it just didn't feel right. I didn't want to do it, so I just let it chill at room temperature. But it's gonna be like it's gonna take 10 hours for it to cool down. And I was just thinking, like, is there something going on in there? You know, like 180 degree hot liquid touching like old stainless metal. Like, is this? That's why I was thinking.
I don't think I would have as much concern with the stainless, because I think if it's a reasonable quality stainless, I think everything is more than likely good there. Sometimes I wonder, like, so in the back of my mind when. And I'll preface this by saying that some of this is like maybe just like stuff that I'm comfortable with the whole process. But in my mind, I've always traditionally said, when I'm done with the boil, when I'm done with my whirlpool, my rest or whatever, I want that liquid to get as cold as possible, as fast as possible, so I can get yeast on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the yeast can, I started to change my mind a little bit over the years on that, because that yeast pitch that's what you're hoping is going to outcompete whatever else is in there from a microbiological standpoint. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we'll say, like, okay, well, we sanitize something, so there's nothing in there. But that's only like 99.99% what have you. And that's if you do everything perfectly, right?
Right.
So really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a healthy, robust pitch of yeast in there so they can outcompete other stuff.
Got it.
So I want to shorten up that timeline. And so, in my mind, what I would always be concerned about with no chill is, now I have no experience making beers this way or drinking beers used with the method. My concern would always be that temperature range of like maybe 110 down to 90, where things can grow in that environment. Anything around that weird body temp range, things typically tend to like to grow. And so that's what I'm always worried about, what's going on microbiologically, right? Prior to the yeast pitch getting in there and starting to do its thing. So that's again, I'm sure you can make baller beer with it. I know a lot of guys have been doing it, and guys have been doing it for a while.
No.
I think I remember years ago, Australian dudes doing it.
No, and at the end of the day, like, I truly don't know if it's just all that olive oil and vinegar that I had before this. Because when I do these hoppy hours, I plan on drinking, like a fish, and I just want to fill up on bread really fast. And a really good hobo meal is just to hit it with oil and vinegar really fast. And I'm addicted to that. They put that out at all the nice Italian food restaurants. And I do eat mustard throughout the day. I'm a mustard junkie, so I don't know if it's just kind of a little bit fried at the end, but other than that, it's a great beer. I highly recommend it. And I got a super chat here. I don't know why I didn't go off. From Chuck VH3.
I don't really like beer that much.
Super chat at $3, man. Chuck, you're a Braj, man. I appreciate that, dude. Appreciate that. That helps out with my San Diego trip next week, man. And shout out to everybody who went to HomebrewCon. I know Steve went out there. There's people in San Diego right now. I'll be there next week, though. That's just how it worked out.
Back off, war child.
Yeah, I'm with Beerqua. I don't think it's the 180. I'm just gonna get to go, do my old ways and just chill, get it to 30 as fast as I can. And Kyle's gonna come out here. Not that I need him to help me build the little wort chiller thing from the hose that's gonna come out of the faucet underneath the sink. But no, other than that, and I do that. Like if I drink a brown ale or a dark lager when I go out and I'm at breweries, I always kind of look for that hint of, sometimes it's either the metallic-y that we talked about or the bitterness that we talked about. If they roasted the grains too much and it just tastes like a little bit, not like sour bitterness, sour, you taste the sour up front, but like the bitter at the end, it's like their dark malts were sitting in the mash tun for too long. So I just think I'm a little bit more particular than the average beer drinker by far.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, and when we were talking about that recipe, and I think you hit on a couple of things that are spot on, and it's definitely my experience with it. I was just looking at our draft data for in-house. And that amber lager for us, that's become our number one. Maybe it's number two, but it might be our Helles, and then for us the beer is called Airborne. It's just an amber lager.
Yeah.
But it's super approachable. It's food friendly. Right, you could eat that with the steak. You could eat that with
5%.
pizza. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you can drink a volume of it. And so and I do think and I don't know if you see this as much, but we still have people come in and say, well, what do you have an amber? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And generally maybe it's a little bit older clientele that's asking that question. Maybe that's not the people in their 20s, but
we talked about this last week, and there are people that go into breweries and they'll order a brown or an amber, and they only drink that, Adam. They'll just drink that. Like that beer, they'll drink 6 of those. I think it is mostly older people, maybe the retirees, the old fishermen and stuff, my dudes. But they will only drink that. And they're just like, I can't, I get the people that can't drink the IPAs. I understand that, my dad still thinks IPAs taste like his mom's washing his mouth out with soap. But they don't drink the Pilsners either. They just want their brown ale or their amber or maybe sometimes a stout or a session stout.
Yeah, man.
But they just stick with that. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool to know what you like.
Well, and again, I mean, it's if that beer style will work where you are, that's awesome. And I do think that there's a certain niche for that stuff. And in our area, that's we move a lot of stuff like that.
See, bro, now I don't taste it at all. I literally just don't taste it at all. And one thing
and that's kind of the benefit of like working your way through like multiple pints of a beer, right? Whether or not you're just knocking dinner out of your mouth,
or my salt and vinegar chips. My salt and vinegar chips just went away or something. Yeah, it's back to normal and it tastes good. And one thing I want to say is that, and this is definitely not the homebrew for life way, but I think it's better just to keg condition for a week, like I really don't recommend forced carbonating. I really know the rule. What's the typical carbonation rule? Maybe do like 48 hours at 20 PSI, bleed it, bring it back down to 10. But I think if it just stays at 10 PSI for 4 or 5 days, I think it tastes better.
Well, and you know what? I feel like one of the things that surprised me after the last few years of repping out some really pale beers is I notice, and especially when you're trying to make, and so I think this is a good argument for it, because especially since these are like pale, like gently flavored beers.
Yeah.
When I've had my Helles or my Mexican lager not come all the way bright, and if I've got some yeast in there in my Helles, that Helles smells a little bit more fruity, and it tastes a little bit more fruity. But you get that beer dropped all the way out, and it's crystal clear.
Right.
All of a sudden, that's all gone. It's nothing but that beautiful round Barca Pilsner malt from Weyermann.
Right.
Maybe a little bit of hop behind it. Right. And it's the same thing even with that Mexican lager. It leans out, and I think there's a softness and roundness. I think that haze in solution, I feel as if it carries like undesirable, and for me undesirable would be like harsh or non-smooth flavors, whether those be hop compounds, anything like that. And I said, once you get those boys bright, they get softer edges. They typically end up a little bit sweeter than they were drinking when that haze was up in it. And yeah, I mean, just giving it a little time too can help take some of those edges off it. That's for sure.
I agree, and I think that's huge. Every time I've let a beer chill, the CO2, it's not supposed to hide a lot of off flavors. It can. It definitely can, but I just think that I don't know. Maybe we we just didn't have the patience when we were brewing and stuff like that. It was just like, just drink the beer as fast as you could. Just people are coming over. We got people coming over. Let's show off this beer. And if it was good and if it was a little bit undercarbonated, we would force carbonate it. Again, I don't know if there's so many things with brewing that are just in my head. I don't know if it's a placebo or if it's not bad, like you're going to know like bad, like blatant bad, when you're going to know like DMS and you're going to know, like what's the caramel? I get the other one confused.
Yeah, that one can be like toffee, like diacetyl.
Diacetyl, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get that, but or if a beer is trying to, you're going for a pilsner and it ends up tasting like a sour, you're like, damn, that was clearly infected. Sure. That whatever bacteria that was, whether it was E. coli or salmonella, whatever, any form of bacteria. But no, it's just I don't know. I just when I just kind of chill out on beers, I think that they just taste better later on in that 5-gallon corny keg.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I like to, and I don't know if you're ever a like cut the dip tube kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
But getting that thing just off the bottom just a little bit. Yeah, you do sacrifice a little beer, but I feel like sometimes you can get something nice and bright out of it.
People thought I was crazy when I first used to do that. I'd have actual homebrewers. I'm like, I've been doing that for 10 years. That's going to waste a beer. That's going to waste a pint. And I was like, so this beer, it doesn't look good. I'm going to go fill up another one right now. Because if you think about it, I split it into 2 cornies, 2.5 batches. Nothing got transferred. Nothing got jumper cabled over to a serving tank. I just wanted it to sit there. There was no oxygen at any point. There was no leaks. Every day I was checking it. I was squirting it with my bottle of Sanny. But at the end of the day, all the trub in there, all the yeast caked in there, it's in there. So it tastes delicious. I don't know if it looks like, the most popular amber on planet Earth, but it tastes really good. But if I was going to go for, presentation, and I'm going to do this for my next batch of beer, I'm going to go back to the cutoff dip tube, cut it off an inch or an inch and a half. Yeah. That's a good move.
Did you ever run gelatin at them?
What I would do is I would cut the serving tank dip tube off. And then you have the jumper cable, and then you go to your serving tank, which is just another corny tank, and then you do your gelatin in that one, let that one sit for 2 or 3 more days, pour that one out. It's just going to be all the glunk. It's going to be all the mud. And after that, your beer is going to be crystal clear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Go grab another beer.
Yep. BRB.
I'm going to try to roll back and see if I can pick up any of those, because I know there's a couple questions from before. You guys are chatting it up in here, baby. I did see somebody say that I've used up all of my sober cards for a stream. We'll have to see about that for maybe one in the future, or maybe I just keep riding it at this point. I don't know. Maybe you just try to be that guy. Double up on used to. Bad Brewing asks Adam, how many beers do you drink per week? As of right now, dude, I haven't really been at all, but I have been running Brewer's Clarex, which not only helps to clarify beer, but also is supposed to help with gluten reduction. And that is something I've been dealing with. I've actually sorted out a number of things in my diet, and I've been feeling much, much better. The downside is though it does seem like I have some level of gluten sensitivity. But I will say this. I had 3 of my own beers for the first time. I went to a buddy's wedding this past weekend. Night before the wedding, I had 3 of my own beers that were made with Brewer's Clarex. And I used it at the rate for gluten reduction, and I was pretty good the next day, which is really a big deal for me, because I'm not going to lie, I was starting to sweat a little bit with, I make beer for a living, and you can only rely so much on your nose during that time. So that was actually a really big deal. How many beers do I drink a week? On average, I probably average 1 to 2 drinks a week. That's what I drank.
He keeps it about as chill as you could possibly keep it chill. You've got more kids than Peter from Genius, though. You got like 16 kids back there. So, I mean, you're booked
To
up.
my knowledge,
man.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's got to get up at 5 in the morning, man. You're getting some love here from Rivera. Adam, love all your content, man. Cheers, Riv. I got a super chat here from Todd Porter.
Thank you.
I don't know why it's not letting me know, man, but I see it up here on the mini feed. Pumped to see Homebrew for Life videos back to the classic format. Show us the DIY while being immensely entertaining, man. Thanks for watching, man. Shout out to anybody who watched that. Thank you, Todd Porter, man.
Back off, war child. Seriously.
Much love. I think he's coming into Knoxville next week. I'm going to be in town that Saturday, but I'm going to go after San Diego. I'm going to go stay in Clawhammerville. I'm going to stay in Asheville, and that'll be cool. That's just a quick little 2-day vacation getaway. And shout out to Kyle. You know, he's giving me his Airbnb, so he's going to save me like $400 there. So fucking love that dude. Yeah. The power of beer, man. If I didn't drink beer, I would have no friends. I'd be forced to play Tears of a Kingdom all day, which is what I want to do anyway right now. But I'll chip away at that a little bit on tonight, man. Nomad, what's up, dude? A buddy can drink my beer with clarity for a minute. He missed big Imperial Stouts. That's a beer I can't really drink anymore. When's the last time you had at least a half ounce of Imperial Stouts, Adam?
Man, so we made the last time we did 2 beers that would fall into that category. We have a beer called Excalibur, which is a 10.5% coffee stout. How much of that did I drink at one setting? Maybe a couple ounces. And then we did a pastry stout with raspberry, and I was surprised how well that turned out, because the beer just is so stupid on paper. Like the finishing gravity is 1060,
and it's expensive as hell to make. And yeah.
But when we thumped that thing up with real raspberry, though, the interesting thing was that acid in the raspberry pushed the pH of the beer so low that it didn't even taste sweet. So the pH in that raspberry actually pushed the beer down to 3.8, and I had to push it back up using food grade slaked lime, and I used info from my man out at Beechwood Brewing and Barbecue, and I always forget his name, but he's a super good dude, and I'll remember it soon. But he walked me through how he uses food grade slaked lime to push pH back up in a beer, and what he told me to do, bump that beer back up to 4.3, and then it got sweet and jammy, and it was luscious. So, but no, I probably haven't drank more than 2 ounces of that beer though either.
Same. Yeah, and if I am drinking it, I have to drink it at home.
Sure.
Yeah. No, that was another thing. I was going to try to brew and get another beer day out, which would have been ridiculous before next Wednesday. I've got so much to do. I've got a haircut, tuxedo, car registration, clean the whole house, chop up some hoppy hours. I was like, I can't brew another beer. Well, like, what am I supposed to do with it? Like this, so the game plan is to not brew, but drink all of my homebrew before that. That's the new goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grind it out.
I hit up, I don't know if I told you about this. I'm working with Yakima Valley. They're going to help me out a little bit. Nice. It's a really good thing. It's a really, really good thing. And I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it or not, but they're giving me a little bit of money. They wanted to do the affiliate marketing thing. And I was just like, no, I've been around the block too many times now. And
sure.
It's a safe bet. It's hops. It's not like try our new fermenter, try our new, $300 dry hop, no oxygen, tri-clamp tank, So it's just hops. So you can't go wrong with that. And I emailed them today, and they're cool. They're super cool. And I'm going to go for blood in this video. And I don't know if this is going to kill the sponsorship, or maybe another one, maybe a grain brand could hit me up. But they hey, your videos make us laugh. Just do what you want to do. And I was like, this could be a good partnership. We could do this once a month, and it gets me brewing again. I get a little, a couple bucks in my pocket.
Sure.
You're not going to do it with ad revenue. You're not going to do it with t-shirts, and this is good advice to anybody, yourself, the Bruce, anybody who's putting out videos, like, hey, like, if you guys hit me up, we're not doing affiliate marketing. Throw me a couple $100 and trust me, like, I'll make it more real than just a quick little shout out, you know? So looking forward to that relationship. The Yakima Valley guys are cool as hell. Shout out to
and I've used their stuff on multiple occasions, man. They've got good products, so that's exciting. Dude, I'm looking forward to that.
They just sent me a big box. Only time I've ever bought in hops that came vacuum sealed, even at like the 2 to 4 ounce quantity of it. The small little increments. It came vacuum sealed. I was like, dude, that's Northern Brewer didn't do that. You know, no disrespect to Northern Brewer, but it's just one more peace of mind as a consumer. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%, man. What's up? That's my Johnson. We got Tampa Bay in the house, man. Let us know what you guys are drinking tonight. Adam's not drinking tonight, so I have to drink twice as much.
Back off, war child.
I mean, I was going to drink the same amount anyways, except for 2 weeks ago when Kyle came on. I want to eat Yakima Valley. What did he say?
That is what he said.
You're probably not going to be at my house. I work from 5 o'clock to 1 o'clock that Saturday. But come into Highwire, man. I'll buy you a beer. Todd Porter, man. Much love, Braj. I'd love to meet you in real life. And Steve put out a cool post today. He was like, hey, everyone, I'm coming to HomebrewCon. Like, if you see me, come say what up. Like, I want to see all you guys and stuff. So, absolutely. And everybody who's came into my work has always been cool. There was just one guy that kind of blew it. And he kind of really blew it, yeah. I guess he just came in at 4 o'clock and asked if I was there. And my boss said, no, he comes back in a little bit. And she just assumed that we were friends. Like I don't talk about the YouTube stuff with coworkers and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then he came back at 10 o'clock, but he would just been, marathon drinking for 6 hours. And we had a line. It was like 10 people. And he's at the end of the bar. Like, yeah, he's like, come do an NBC with me. Now I'm like in worker mode. I'm like, hey, man, I don't fucking come into your work, man. Like, you're screaming at a bar. Like, hey, dude. I understand that. Thank you for watching my videos, man. But he was like taking the chip reader out of the iPad and like touching too many buttons on it. And it's like, nah, man, you sign your name and hit the thing. And no, just don't do that to anybody. Like, don't go into anybody's work and Adam makes beer and I'm going to go in the back. Hey, let me match you in. What does that button do? What's the
I've been
red?
Fortunate. I've only had people come in a few times, and when they do,
Chris Radiation pulling the fire alarm.
They're just nice as could be. You know what I mean? Just super grateful, and so yeah. But no, we've only had good experiences thus far.
No, man, I love running into people in real life, and when I'm out and about, it's like, hey, you're the guy, which has happened maybe like 4 or 5 times. I'll buy you a beer. Like, hey, I love hearing about it and this and that. And I got called out by a girl one time, and she was like, hey, you got my husband into brewing and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, like, where are you guys sitting? I'll come over. And they had a table at Pizza Port, and we hung out the whole night. They were cool. And actually, this was when I was in San Diego, and he was kind of gearing me on where to go when I knew I wanted to leave California, but I didn't know where to go yet. And he was talking about just, Tennessee to Florida to Georgia and this and that. And he was super cool. And I had a great time with that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only had one awkward face-to-face interaction. I was out at a brewer's thing, and we were at a brewery, and I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of other people, like a bunch of coworkers. So like I'm clearly like engaged with a group of people. Right. And somebody comes up behind me and taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around and they didn't say anything. And I'm like,
just staring you down.
Hey, I'm Adam.
This is going good.
We shook hands, and then they introduced themselves.
Right.
And he's like, I've seen your videos. And I'm like, oh, cool, man. I appreciate
Thanks
you
for watching. Yeah, that's right.
And he goes, I know all the stuff that you're saying, though. And I'm like,
Homebrewer 1-Up.
Okay.
The Homebrewer 1-Up.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then we just sat there, like, looking at each other for a second. Then I'm like, all right, well, Hey man, good to meet you.
Yeah. Do we pull out our guns and
could've
shoot
just-
each other now? Is this like a standoff? Is this
I mean, we could have just not said anything to each other.
Doc
I mean,
Hollywood?
don't get me wrong. I mean, it was super but you would figure
Johnny Ringo?
like,
Yeah.
it would have just been less awkward than that. That's all.
And
But
on the other side of that, though, I've been the same dude. You know, Jeff Bagby, who started Pizza Port, big name in San Diego. He's got his own brewery down there
Oh,
in
yeah.
Oceanside, probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
It's called Bagby's, big kitchen, big restaurant.
yeah.
And I was drinking with him at Battle Mage, and I wasn't drinking with him. We were both there. And I went up to him and I just said, like, hey, I'm a big fan. You know, this might even been before the channel. I hope it was, because I knew if I had the channel then, I'd be like, I got this YouTube channel. Like, we should collab. He's looking at me like, the fucking A. Who the fuck is this kid, man? Get him the fuck on out of here. But I remember just like, how you doing, man? Is it good? Nice to meet you. I was like, cool. Can I take a picture with you? He's like, no, I just do handshakes. And I was like, okay. Okay. Like, yeah. Right. I don't know. Like, I just went up to somebody and I was, you know, like I would have taken a picture with anybody. I'd give somebody a hug as long as they were cool. But he's just like, no, I just don't want to take a picture with you. And I was like, okay. I don't think like you're an asshole now or at all. Like I'm not going to like not go to Pizza Port or Bagby's. We were just on different vibes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that's right. Todd Porter just put in the chat. I remember he said best thing about Adam was him agreeing to let my wife question him forever for her MBA class. It wasn't forever.
What are we
She was
talking
a
about?
lovely lady. Todd Porter, his wife was taking an MBA class and she needed to interview somebody on the business side of something, and so I sat down and chatted with her for a little while. Lovely people.
Shout out to Todd Porter, man. No, I'm looking forward to meeting him on Saturday. But one of the reasons I never talk about beer at wherever I work, like my coworkers didn't even know about my YouTube channel or me brewing until about 6 months in. The guy that said to you, I already know all this stuff.
Yeah.
How many times do you get a drunk home brewer that comes in and he's just trying to one up your stories? It's like, what are you using that? What are you using your signature high mosaic, high pitch IPA? Is it like California 001? You're like, oh no, it's actually, I have no idea. They're like, well, why don't you try like this and then try like the imperial yeast? You ever try to like do it with this and do it with that? You're like, dude,
I feel like
there's 10 people behind you, man. Get the fuck out of
I've
here.
lucked. I feel like I've lucked out because mostly when I'm interacting with the public, it's when I actually have a couple of minutes.
Right.
So yeah. But no, like when I was at this wedding or when I go different places, I was just out somewhere else. I was meeting different people, and they found out that I was a brewer, and so homebrewers have questions. So it's usually just, you know, little things. It's nothing big. It's pretty cool.
Right. No, it's cool, and I'm sounding like a douchebag right now, but there are some funny stories, man.
No, but you see it differently than I do, though.
I'm front of house.
You're front of house.
I'm front of house.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
bro,
That's two different things.
Bro, I was screaming at customers at Pride last Saturday. I was, by the end of the night, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. Maybe I'm not. I don't think anyone's going to even hear this. But really quick, I want to give a big shout out to Northwest Small Batch Brewing, man. Much love for the memberships, man. I love Steven, always showing love. So we did Pride, and Adam, I'll send you a video. I'll send it to you right now of just me walking into work and just seeing like so many people, like more like a concert, like a Woodstock. And we did $25,000 in sales. And a big night for us, a big night for us is 10,000 in sales. When
I was about to ask.
When UT plays on the road, because UT, I think there's like 110,000 seats in that stadium. So when they're on the road, people are forced to go to the bars. People are forced to go to the breweries. So for us to do a $10,000 day is insane. So we had Pride, and there's a line out the door for 12 hours. And after my 8th hour, if somebody was, you know, at the end of the night where you sign out, but it's like, you want to be on like our email list, you know? So people are all fucked up and they're squinting and, you know, they've got like one eye open. They're trying to type in their email. I'm just like, no, turning it around. Like, no, there's read the room even as a customer. There's 100 people behind you. Or people come in and they're like, hey, what's in your bourbon lemonade ginger cocktail? And I'm like, well, there's bourbon and there's lemonade.
You just named it,
and
baby.
You just said it, dog. And they're like, no. Like, what I mean is, like, is it good? Next customer, man. Like, no. I'll pour you anything you want at this point. And there was this one time where it was Pride Week. So we got these dudes, bigger, like as big as Maury, no shirts on, wearing these giant wings that are like, they're all trying to, the guys that are aggressively drunk, that are like, all trying to give the beer tender the credit card, you know, like, here, you take it, like, you take it, like, you. So I was like, you guys are like knocking shit over with your wings. Like, just, I'm taking the first card. They're like, no, don't swipe that one. Like, guys, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're not even going to remember this in the morning. I'm swiping the card. There's a lot of people behind you. Don't drive tonight. Yeah. Just
so my favorite service story is, this is a festival story, and
but our guys made like $70 an hour that night.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you pay, you know.
Sure. But we do in Michigan. They have some pretty big, well-developed festivals, beer festivals, and so like they'll do like 2-day fest, 3-day fest that'll get like 5,000 or 6,000 people a day through.
Damn.
And so, but we have, but it'll be like in a public park, and so when the alcohol permit says you have to stop pouring, you really have to stop pouring, or the whole event can get in big trouble. And also, as soon as I uncouple those kegs, I'm off work. Okay, so I'm also motivated to shut down the booth at the appropriate time.
Get it in your car as fast as can.
You always have people coming up and begging, and they're like zombies. They're like, "Is there anything left? What's left? The highest ABV thing you have?"
I don't even care.
And my one brewer buddy was like, "Dude, the only thing I have left is the dump bucket. Do you want me to dip your cup into the dump bucket?" And the guy's like, "Yeah."
Oh my God, man. I've probably been there too, though. No, you got to teach people lessons. You know? And a lot of times when people come in and just run up to a bar and they're like, just give me whatever's got the most booze in it, I think you just cut yourself off. I don't think you need one at that point. Or the 21-year-olds that come in and they're like, well, what's your favorite? And I'm like, dumbest fucking question of all time.
The cutoff thing is interesting to me, man.
Well, you know what I'm going to do, Adam.
How do you handle cutting off?
When in doubt, cut them off. And don't undermine your coworkers. Have their backs. If you see somebody who... I cut a dude off on Friday. And he was a teacher there at a teacher convention. And I was thinking, like, I'm going to do you a favor. Because of all people, like, of all industries, like, you're going to be at a school where, teachers kind of hold themselves to a higher standard. And the whole night he'd come up with this chick. And she had a dress on. And I could have sworn he was, like, fingering her from behind and just kind of groping her. And I was looking at his bar tab. And it was at, like, 50. Then it went to, 70. Then it was $100. And to the point where he was just swaying back and forth. Probably mid-40s, big guy, kind of short but thick, kind of like like a professional umpire or something. Sure. And, after like the 4th or 5th hour, I was like, dude, I just can't serve you anymore. And I'm not the cool bartender that's like, let's get you fucked up. Like I'm once you start getting annoying and this and that, and we are like a Chuck E. Cheese bar where there's a lot of kids and stuff like that. Sure. And he's like, why are you cutting me off? I'm like, dude, and I'll always say this. I'll always say, I was told to from my manager, because now it's not personal. If it's like me that's saying, hey, man, no, this is my world and you're living it. No, but I'm like, hey, man, like, it's not personal. Come back tomorrow, this and that. And he's like, well, why am I getting cut off? I'm like, I don't know what it is. Your bar tab's at $106. Our beers are kind of cheap. You've just, I heard about it from a manager.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend's right there. He's like, how about this? How about if she orders me a beer? And I started laughing. I was like, okay, yeah, you got it all figured out, dog. Like the holy loophole. Like, no, man. And she had another $50 bar tab. And I was like, guys, just please don't drive, man. 2 people ordering $150 worth of alcohol at drinks or alcohol at a bar that's not like, I understand kind of spending $150 at a craft cocktail bar or speakeasy, But if you're going to a
Sure.
brewery or, craft beer, $6, $7, $8, and your bar tab is $150 between two people,
Yeah.
you don't need
putting in
another
some
one.
work.
Yeah, you're putting in some
Yeah.
work. What up, Barbecue Larry? What's up, dog? Yeah, Pride Week, man. $25,000 on that Saturday, bro.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Crazy.
We're still grinding through this bridge construction we've got going on by us. I think it's another 6 months. And then theoretically, because they've been shutting down the road going one way or another, they're building a whole new bridge through the area where we're in. And it just sucks because it also shuts down the bike trail because we're right on a bike trail as well. So it's kind of a double whammy, loss of traffic from both of those places. So, but we're grinding it out. I think next summer is going to be a big one. So yeah.
Can I ask you a question as far as money goes? Because you guys have a full-on kitchen. Chris we've talked before, but Chris sent me a picture. He was eating a burger. He was having some lunch. Is it kind of a false sense of sales? Because $30,000 or whatever, $10,000 is very good for a brewery that does not sell food.
Their food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is 10,000?
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I mean, it is weird numbers, right? And so it depends on.
Because the margins on beer are so high and the margins on food are so low.
So low. So yeah, I mean, I think it can be deceptive. You know what I mean? And especially if your kitchen isn't on point, man. You've gotta be balling out back there and have some serious systems. In order to be making your margin on that food. Otherwise, it's just this bleeding wound in the back of the building, as far as your P&L goes. You know what I mean? And so, because I've thought that, because so like when you said you did 10, 10 is a big night, but then you did 25, I thought
that's
to myself,
insane.
okay, that's 25 of booze though. Like we've done, I think we've had nights that were maybe 28, maybe 28 is our highest, and not many days like that. But that's 60% food though.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and those are two different things. So yeah, when you call it that false sense of security, I do think that you can see those numbers, and yeah, you're kind of patting yourself on the back a little bit, but you're not realizing that, dude, unless you're really on point back there, you might be losing money. You might be losing money out of the back, and that's where most, and then also, let's be real. I was just listening to an interview today with another guy in the beverage side of things, and he was saying, how hard it is to keep people in the kitchen. I mean, increasingly, it's hard to find the labor you can hold on to, and some of that falls on ownership, and some of that falls on management as well. But I mean, everywhere I hear, I don't know how it is by you, but I mean, it seems like people are starving to get people in their kitchens that'll stick around.
The thing about, so the only brewery, if you come out to Knoxville, the only brewery you could really kind of compare us to in size is Yeehaw. And you may have heard of Yeehaw.
Yeah.
They're big out there in Johnson City, and they're big out here in the South. Even though I think we only do beer in Tennessee and maybe another state. But they're huge out here.
But doesn't Yeehaw have a place in Nashville?
They do. Yeah. And soon to be Highwire
too. I was there when I was at CBC.
Yeah, we kind of bang together. I think that Highwire's way bigger. Highwire, we have like 12. We have Birmingham. We've got Raleigh. We've got Nashville. We've got Cincinnati. We just opened up in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I think maybe I'm lying. I think we just opened up in Cincinnati, but we're like, it's insane how successful the Highwire's business model is, because none of them have kitchens. It's all draft. It's all production from Asheville.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay us shit. I make $3 an hour.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Dude, and those kegs are gravy too, man. When they're coming in out of a production house and you're pouring full margin, man, get out of here.
Dude, we are the Walmart of craft beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. we do a mug club that was $20 up until this year. And you would get not only that, so our mug club is like a 22-ounce pour for the regular price, but we did half off Tuesdays and Thursdays. So our beers were $3.50, and we would just get volume.
Sure.
And the average mug
man.
club down the street would be like $200 a year, and you get like 10% off, and some you get invited to some bullshit party once a year, you know. Yeah, but it was just silly. Highwire, these guys are it's the best company I've ever worked for, and I love that it's just pouring beer, man. It's just you know, it's pouring beer, and I love my bosses. I love all my coworkers except one guy. One guy I fucking want to kill, but that's every job, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, that's every job. But all right, Larry, drink a beer with us. Let me fill up one more beer. We finally got 50 people in here, and for those who just got here, we're an hour in right now. This is Adam Makes Beer, head brewer out there, Cartridge Brewing, Cincinnati, Ohio. There's a link to his channel that you can see right there. It doesn't hurt to subscribe. Showing love would be cool. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so drop a quick question if you have something for me, but just to flesh out that distro stuff, because I do get questions about where we're at with all that stuff. We're going to be having an IPA called the Freak Beat. We are going to have a fruit beer called the Squeeze, and those are our two core beers. They're going to be out in cans and draft in both the Dayton and Cincinnati area. And then we are going to be having seasonal 12-ounce can releases, 6 of those throughout the year, and then also six 16-ounce can releases as well. So we'll have some specialty stuff flying out there. But if you are looking for that stuff, that's really where we're going to be talking about. Larry, did you have NBC? Oh no, I was thinking MGC. I've got a beer up right now called MGC. I've got a Pils that never quite came clear for me, so I'm entering in a competition as a Keller Pils, but I like it. It's tasty. I need to do the tasting video on that. Yeah, Denoid says, I think we have legislation here where you have to sell food if you sell beer. You can't get around that. You can get around that with a loaf of bread, but still. Yeah, and it's so state specific, man. It's really wild. I know they'll have different requirements. I know liquor law wise, things were far different in Michigan. I think we just got self-distro of up to 1,000 barrels when I used to brew back there. But shoot, in Ohio, I think we can go. I think we can go up to like something crazy. Higher than any place ever could on their own. Because I think what a lot of people don't realize sometimes is when you're going into that more of that regional distribution, you're really becoming more of a logistics company than a brewery at that point. So yeah, I think the world may need more Keller Pils, man. It's this hoppy pills that I've been working on for a couple of years. It's kind of I talk about it like being kind of like my forever beer. Like I want it to be the beer that I'm just gonna kind of keep brewing and keep trying to get better at as I do my thing. Stephen Plass, what up, dude? Adam is back. It's all true. Adam, no question, but I love the videos you put out. Rosemont Brewer, thanks, man. Thanks so much. We're kind of grinding it out. I'm gonna have some more brew day stuff coming up. I'm planning a massive hazy IPA. They want me to do some one-off stuff, so I'm gonna try to do like this ridiculously big hazy thing because they said they wanted a ridiculously big hazy thing. So I think I'm going to try some advanced hop products in that, either a salvo or an incognito. I'm going to be running some incognito here soon in the Whirlpool on kind of this hazy triple IPA thing they're hankering for up in Boss Land. And yeah, so I'll probably be running a video on that because I have not worked with Incognito before. And so I'll be looking to do that. So anyways, that's kind of some stuff that we have new going on our side.
I see a NBC from Larry up there, man, the moderator with the blue wrench. Now I was going to
Oh
create
wait,
a poll.
that means mandatory beer chug. I'm learning things.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I'm learning things.
I used to put that in
also
every
want to
video.
know. I need you to understand. I need you to explain to me the origins of the term Braj.
So Braj I got from my friend Quinn, who is no longer with us. Not the point. That was the first time I heard it, and I thought it was like a Gen Z thing.
Okay.
And then and he was just saying Braj one day, and it was like Braj. Like I kind of like just like bro Montana.
Yeah.
Bro
Oh yeah.
Chacho,
Yeah.
Braj.
Yeah.
And then we started calling each other Braj all weekend. He was about 10 years younger than me. He's in one of the first videos. It's called a day in a life of homebrew for life, and I think it's Blanca from Street Fighter 2. And he had just graduated college. He was debt free. We bonded over video games. We met through like retro video games. So this whole weekend it was just like Braj. I just loved saying it. And this is probably like, I don't know, 30. I'm 38 now. It's probably 5 or 6 years ago. Just a really cool time. I was dating a cool chick. We had a cool spot. I was putting out YouTube videos. He was putting out Pokemon Go videos. So we were kind of like pushing each other to put out content too.
Yeah.
And then I went to work one day, and one of our regulars, my buddy Kevin Tyrell, who's actually in a lot of the videos too, the older videos, we were just like, Braj, what's up? He's like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, like I know that word too. And our coworker was like, dude, you guys got to stop saying that. Like, it's so annoying. It's like, don't ever say that. Braj Mahal, Braj Holio. And it's like, you can't tell a person like him or a person like me, like, don't call me that. Stop saying that. Now it's on for life, you know, like,
you're just telling them to say it. That's all you're doing.
Exactly. Call me that forever. And then I got a phone call saying, oh, I finally know what Braj was. It's from Workaholics. They call each other Braj.
Okay.
So I went back to not the guy that taught me the word, the guy that was my regular Booze Brothers, and he was like, no, like we've been saying Braj since like forever. And I was like, hey, well, check this out. I'm gonna come up with a new word, brunch. And they just got up and started laughing. They're like, we've been saying that even longer. And I was like, well, fuck, man. What up, you brunch? What's up, Braj? So we didn't know. So it was just like, I have no, claim on this. Anybody who says like they were the originator, you're lying. Like it's like, don't even treat it like that. And then everybody was just like a Braj, where it became like a verb. Like if your buddy helped you out, he came over, hey, I need a ladder. Hey, my car ran, I have a flat tire. And that's Braj. Like here's bro.
Yeah.
Here's dude. Everyone's dude. Every stranger's like, what's up, dude? You need a drink? Dude, what's up?
Yeah.
Bro is like, what's up, dude? I haven't talked to you for a while. Braj is like, that was a Braj move. That was like, hey man, like I need $5.
It's actually speaking to character.
Thank you, Braj. Yes.
That is.
Thank you for being a Braj. And then I just, as dumb as I am, I made the t-shirt, drugs are really expensive. Or drug resistance education program, or whatever the acronym is supposed to. Yeah, and I made Braj out of it, and me and like 5 friends just started wearing the t-shirts. And anytime you like have a tattoo or a t-shirt, I think that requires explanation. Like you fucked up, So everyone's going around town like, "What is Braj?" We're like, God damn it, this sucks." If you ever get a tattoo that's like a symbol of like half this religion or this religion mixed with like the sun, and people are like, what is that? Like you fucked up. Like you shouldn't have got that tattoo. Yeah. What does your shirt say? It's like Braj, and then underneath it says "Always be chill no matter what." And it's just like, if you know, you know.
That is funny though, how sometimes those things become like, and I'm actually like getting wary of it, because especially when I was working with Maggie, my old assistant, she and I were full of shit enough to where like we would try to always like outdo each other with something new and stupid.
Yeah.
But then you start using it.
And it's a
like,
thing.
sarcastically, but
Right.
then you fall off that cliff real quickly though.
Right.
So when you're saying it, then I'm like saying it to my kid and like the guy at the grocery store and stuff, and
Starts
I gotta
with
put
one.
myself in check. That's
Starts with one. And then like to tell somebody instead of saying like you're an asshole or like you fucking dipshit, like fuck this guy. It's like, hey, you ain't no Braj. You ain't no Braj. Like you ain't no Rasta. You ain't cool. Like you ain't no Braj, man. But I was gonna do a poll in here. I don't know which one I should do. We could do both. First one was gonna be is everyone in here subscribed to Adam's channel? Because that'd be cool. Even if you don't,
very cool.
Don't
I
watch.
appreciate it.
I'm gonna start saying in my videos, don't even watch it. Just subscribe for free right now. It'll just make me feel better. Don't even mute it. Block it. But just make sure you're subscribed. Or B, can I drink 10 beers tonight? And it's only going to be homebrew. So,
dedication, man.
Yeah. Well, first things first, you are the guest, and we will create the poll for you, my good sir. Let your viewers weigh in. Answer viewer questions live. We're already live. Subbed to Adam. What do you got? About 5,000 subscribers?
No, I'm creeping up on 4.
Okay, cool. All right, well, maybe we can get you maybe a bump or two
I would
from
love
this.
that.
Yeah. All right, well, it's at 100 so far. Adam, I got a beer question. I pitched my beer salts in my last video. I do it at 152. Somebody told me not to do that. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. This is just the internet creature. I like to do it because I think that it's going to get diluted the best. But a lot of people do it when they mash in because they don't want it to, I guess, get burned up in the. I don't know.
This is interesting. I actually had somebody, a good friend of mine that's always on my live streams and everything like that, and he's a real talented brewer. He sent me a couple screenshots of some stuff, and one of it was the guy that made the Brewing water software, and he was seeming to think that, echoing some things that you were talking about. So how I handle that is I can't do anything to my hot liquor tank water because of the way my HLT is set up. I don't have an easy way to dose it. I don't have an easy way to recirculate it. And I also have like 28 barrels of water in there. So I have a lot of water in there. So it's not like I'm just dosing a small amount. I would actually need to turn it over and make sure that it's fully integrated, stuff like that. If you can bulk dose your hot liquor tank, or your hot liquor tank water, that would probably be ideal. What I do instead is as I'm mashing in, I will add my salts and acid to the mash as the rake is turning it. I do it like 3 or 4 times throughout the mash in. Okay, just to spread the salt addition, just to spread the acid addition throughout it. I hit the pH number that I want to see that way. But I do know there's some people that will just throw all their salts and acid into the mash tun as they are starting to mash in. I don't do that because I'm concerned that it would stratify. And listen, I don't know science. I don't know all of the science, right? And so in my brain, I'm worried that I'm just going to end up with salts and acid a little bit, especially the salts, kind of stratified down even beneath my false bottom, maybe. So I typically don't do it like that. But it also comes down to the results that you're expecting. If you're hitting the pH numbers that you expect in whatever calculator you're using, your stuff's probably getting into solution. Because if it didn't mix appropriately, you wouldn't see the dependable pH numbers that you're seeing during your brew day.
Do you do pre-boil for every mash? Do you use pH readings for every pre-boil?
Yeah. So
for every
what we'll
style?
do is we will do a pH reading for the first runnings. So I mash in, I get that. We take some of the recirculated wort and take the pH off of that. And then I will also take pH readings of my final runnings as well. So the last wort that does not go into the kettle, I'll cut that off. I'll take gravity and pH readings on that.
Nice.
Typically, that first reading that I do, I want to see around 535. That can flex up or down, style dependent. But pretty much, I keep everything right around 535. I want to see that final runnings pH around 5.5 for me. I definitely want to keep it under 6 because I think at 6 and above, you can potentially start pulling some tannin out of those lighter beers. And that's what I found, especially making, some rice lager and Munich Helles and stuff like that. It definitely shows up. But then I adjust my sparge water pH as well. And I do that as I'm sparging. As that spraying out over with acid in a spray bottle, and I add that throughout the process.
Do you use the Milwaukee one that's like $120, or have you found any success with like the $10 piece of shit Amazon Prime pH readers?
I never have. I think they're terrible, and I have an expensive bench meter. I have a we spent a fair amount of money on that. That was not a cheap one. But if you do want to keep it calibrated, I was listening to some big ballers talking. I think Vinny over at Russian River, I think they recalibrate their pH meter every day. That's one thing you really want to stay on top of. So if you're using it once a month, you probably want to calibrate it every time.
Yeah.
And definitely keep that probe. That probe can't be stored dry.
Yeah. No, always have it soaking in that little thing that's got, I don't know. If you don't have the expensive 7 pH or the 4 pH, or maybe it's like 3 or whatever, just put it in water. Just let it, just make sure it's not dry. But we got some modern day warlords in the house right now. Bring out the Malort, Barbecue Larry, man. What's up, man? And shout out to Elementary Brewco. He put out a short today. And he was doing some cool pressure fermentation, I believe, with a Northern Brewer kettle. That was pretty cool, man. That was
nice.
Yeah. No, is Noam drunk? Oh, I think Noam is drunk. Yeah. Shout out to Noam for being drunk, man. It's a good thing about these Wednesday nights is I just roll over into my bed, All right. So the name of the game is that I'm not going to drink a beer that's not homebrew until all my homebrew's gone. I don't know if that's humanly possible. It's definitely humanly possible, and I might just do it tonight. But that's the next poll. Let me put that one up there. But I want to give a big shout out to Max Kelly, who commented that he had subscribed to Adam's channel. That was cool, man. So
nice, brother. Cheers.
Yeah. It's not a vote. It's not like a vote, Like voting's like good guy versus bad guy. No. Just it's like a free guy. It's like just do it. All right, what do we got here? But I did maybe have broken the seal. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Can you hold it down here for a second?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Okay, cool. My dad's going to hit me up in the morning and be like, dude, you're fucking out of control again. Yeah, it's pretty much like clockwork at this point. He gets it. I mean, he's seen this shit his whole life. All right, be right back.
Sure. For sure. Yeah, I did see one of the more poignant comments of the evening was somebody did point out Adam as a false bottom. But yeah, so anyways, let me see. What else is going on, you guys? What are you guys drinking tonight? I'm messing everything up. So yeah, I'll tell you more about what I'm thinking about doing with that kind of triple hazy IPA thing that we were talking about. I'm thinking that I have not used Incognito before, and I was listening to a great interview with Kelsey McNair. I forget the name of his brewery, but he's running hot wort into his fermenter and keeping and pouring that Incognito into the fermenter and letting it sit on some hot wort first and then filling up. Because if you have used incognito, I do hear that at times that stuff can really stick to the inside of your kettle. And it seems like kind of a shame, but anyways, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to working with that stuff. It'll be fun. Adam, any recommendations for a pH meter for home brewers? I would kind of look. I would look to avoid the really cheap ones. Milwaukee has some good stuff. I would search around a little bit for, I don't know, maybe some recommendations, even if you're looking at like Amazon reviews or something like that. You want to find something that is cleanable, something that you can clean, something that you can calibrate, and everything like that, and just something that where you don't see people all the time saying, "Oh, the probe is burning out on me." And yes, you do want to be storing that in solution at water at the very least. But yeah, you got to. They're fussy, man. And even the one I have has like this little. The probe is like glass or whatever, and it's cool and it's holding up. But I don't know. It is kind of a pain. But yeah.
Well, I'm at the 4th beer right now. We're almost up to 60 people. How are we doing in here? How are you doing on your time, Adam? You chilling?
I've got a little more time in me.
Okay.
I can probably bounce by about 11.
Okay, cool. And we're on the same time zone?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's 10:30 by me right now. We're in the same time zone.
10:34, right? Yeah. I always get confused with the Midwest and the South.
Well, because when I went to Tennessee, when I went to Nashville, it's an hour earlier than here.
Nashville and Knoxville are different, which is a mind fuck. You know, California is north. No,
should not be allowed.
It's just weird, man. Shout out to Prusy, man. What's up, dog? Mental chillness is chill. Yeah, it's not mental illness, man. It's mental chillness tonight.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't really like beer
It's
that
always
much.
mental chillness.
Yeah, and Brewing Bad is right. Replaceable probe on those pH meters is a big plus. That's for sure.
You're talking about the Milwaukee's?
Yeah. Really, anything that comes with a probe that can be replaced, because there's only so much probe those things can do. You know what I mean?
Duly noted. Yeah, and this is cool because this is a really good one. I always like having Adam on. You know, like there's a million things that we could chop up and I can edit and put it into like 3 or 4 minute format and just kind of look back on. You know, I'm writing stuff down, when to add beer salts, or you know, the problem getting too big and the new canning line and this and that. But maybe I'll get a laptop.
Andrew Binstead asks a great question. He said, thoughts on brewing science certificates. I've been working in the industry for over a decade, no degree, and this is basically my career at this point.
No degree for life.
I'm going to be interviewing Jenny Reed from 50 West this coming Friday. I'm doing a live stream with her, and she actually graduated from UC Davis. And so we're going to talk about that experience, because this is an industry that you can apprentice into. There's kind of 2 different paths in, you know what I mean? And Jenny's a real cool girl, great brewer. And I'm just going to talk to her about her experience with UC Davis and what she feels as if it's done for her career-wise. I would say real quick off the top that sometimes without those certifications, it can limit the size of brewery that you can work for, because some of the larger, more I don't want to say, this is going to sound negative, but it's not meant negative. Some of the larger, more industrial breweries, and I say that with full-on respect, they're looking for some more formal education. So it kind of depends on where you want to go. If you're at a point in your career where a certification will get you into the place that you want to be working, then go for it. If not, if you like where you are and you're not even your foot, your whole body is in the door, dude. So don't sweat it. But if you feel as if it would be something that would improve you, then dig into it a little bit.
I agree with Adam, as long as it doesn't cost you an arm and a dick.
Sure.
Stay out of debt.
Sure.
Stay out of debt. I kind of made fun of that in my last YouTube video where I I was watching The Matrix last month, and I was like, this guy can just learn anything he wants for free right now. I was like, that's kind of like YouTube. Like, I want to learn how to fly a helicopter. I was like, can you do that on YouTube?
Right.
But no, at the end of the day, do you know when you're going to hire somebody, is it just who has the best the resume, or do you know, like, hey, like, we have a big enough networking here and the
Dude, I would rather hire grain. I'd rather hire somebody with no experience.
Oh, really?
I'd rather, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things, because it's such a fine line. Now, I mean, obviously, if you're, if you're talking about,
Nobody wants to
a
unlearn.
lower level position, then obviously you're gonna have, more opportunities to hire a green person. Not so much like if you're looking for experience, but I'm still at the spot to when I am hiring, I have and I'll say it like this: I have the luxury of hiring green people. And so, like, how it's worked out for me is I pulled people from front of house to back of house. They had interest. I was able to see that they showed up to work. They worked their ass off. They were trustworthy. So, I mean, those are all the boxes you need to be checking anyways. And so that's like this amazing pre-screening for me. And so I think that's been a little bit of the blessing for me, and also kind of stacks the deck in favor of what I have going, because I do have kind of that pre-screening going on. Do I know they work? Do I know they show up? You know what I mean? So yeah, on that front, if I'm hiring a starter position, in some ways it's almost nice to hire somebody that you can just build from the ground up. You know what I mean?
But I would also imagine that you know a lot of people, and you know a lot of the right people, and you can just ask a simple question, be like, hey, should I pick this guy up? And they'll be like, 100%. Or if they'll give you that 2-second pause, no. Like, anytime you ever ask someone a question and it's a 2-second pause, that means no.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was one of these things that I was talking to my buddy Bill Gerds. He's
hey, are you Mug Club? Are you guys Mug Club?
We don't have a mug club.
We don't. No, that was my joke. 'Cause I always ask people to brew. I'm like, hey, are you guys Mug Club? They're like, yeah, right here. Yeah. I'm like, are you guys Mug Club? They're like, no. That means no. It means no. If it takes 2 seconds too long, it means no. Sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah. So my buddy Bill brews down at Linwood Brewing Concern down in Raleigh, and he was getting to the point where they were going to be adding a production house, and they needed. He needed a guy, and the guy that was working for me was awesome, and he was ready for something new. I almost had to twist Bill's arm to take him from me, because he knew. He's like, listen, I know this guy's great. He said, I don't think I can hire him away from you. That would hurt me too much, knowing that I would be taking somebody good from you. Because that's kind of one of the other elements too, man. It's hard when you know that you've got somebody, when you've got a good one, you don't want to lose them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that kind of factors into the stuff. But yeah, he and I were just laughing about that. But yeah, Andy's been down there for, I think, like 7-8 years with him. But yeah, the good people you don't wanna let go, man. It breaks my heart when I lost my assistant, dude. That sucked. I'm excited for her. She has a great gig going at Urban Artifact right now. So super excited for her, but that was a heartbreaker to have her leave.
Dude, not even that, but we were talking 2 weeks ago with Kyle, because he's kind of in hiatus right now over at Clawhammer, and he was just talking about, it's been a lot different since Ross has left and moved out. And he's like, there'll never be another Ross. Some people just cannot be replaced. And that could be a friend, that could be a coworker, that could be a YouTube, like, shitty personality, that could be in any format of some social cohort. And it's tough to find people, man, and I had a dude who I wanted to get more involved with Homebrew for Life with me. I did a shitty video about making bratwurst
a month
ago. And just like a couple weeks ago, he was like, dude, that was so much fun. Let's do it again. Like the raddest, nicest guy I've met in Knoxville. And we hit it off. And he is a coworker, so I'm very kind of like kind of we talked about when you came on, like, do you drink with your coworkers? Do you drink with these guys?
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy that I will always drink with. Like, I have nothing to worry about with this guy. And he's already moving to Charlotte in a month. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, just when I thought I had, like, maybe a new Maury or something, you know, like the Jay and Silent, like the shithead, the quiet guy, the Chris, the Farley, like the opposite personalities attract.
Yeah.
So even on that scale, no, I hear you, man. So I'm sad to hear that you lost one of your, you know, better employees that's been at Cartridge with you.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, honestly though, I will say, and it's funny because Josh and I are so opposite in so many ways. As extroverted as I am, he is equally introverted. But
you need that. You can't have two.
You do.
Yeah, you need
and I'll tell you what, man. Like
the
when
yin and the yang.
when we have a lot of stuff going on, and we just added a part-time dude, but we've had some days where we're pretty stacked up and we've got a lot of things that we got to get done.
Yeah.
And it'll be one of those deals where like the first 7 hours of the day goes by, you haven't sat down, and you're like, but he's always like, but he loves it. He's like, dude, this is good.
He's on the Adderall.
And I'm like, man,
no, dude, he's ripping nose beers in the back.
He's just a dog, dude. I'm telling you, he's a killer.
That's cool.
But no, like he really appreciates that hard day's work. And I mean, you know, being in your mid-20s doesn't hurt either. You know what I mean? He's got those young bones in his body and stuff. But yeah, man. So
no, and I get it, man. You know, we tried to even hire a guy that, like, he had a college degree from UT, and he just couldn't give people the correct change back. And when he would pour a wrong beer, this is like the poster child for Gen Z. He'd pour a wrong beer, or it was supposed to be in a mug club, and he would just dump it out and start over. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, just take the glass that you poured it in and then pour it into a mug. Yeah. You know, like, if you do that again, like, I'm literally going to fucking kill you. You know, like, I hate when people waste beer. I was like, dude, you have a college degree and you don't know how to pour a beer, or like charge a guy $8.50 and he gives you a 10 and give him the correct change back. Like, they're out there. That's not everybody, but
man.
And you don't really know this about people in the interviewing process. You kind of just sound, and you're trying to, you know, explain your resume and trying to get them to like you, but you don't know like anything about anybody.
Absolutely. And there is that thing where you're like,
Malort.
And that's we've got this new guy in now, and it was cool. So like this morning he made coffee, which was good. He was on time. He chatted us up a little bit, like, and it was just normal work day stuff.
Hold on. I have to take a picture of this right now. Someone just brought up Camille. I'm sorry. Let me go run and get my phone. Adam, can you put this story on pause?
Yeah.
Grab it.
He's very excited about this. Bring back Maury, Donnie, and Camille. Good night, Larry.
Sorry about that, Adam. Good night, Larry.
Night.
You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens, Larry? All right, I'm gonna troll some.
It's been too long since I watched that movie.
Jesus. Are we still here? Sorry, we got half an hour left, man. We got.
No, you're good.
We got the Braj, man. He's got to be up at 5 a.m. You know, he's got what is that? 6 hours sleep.
Yeah, around in there. I get 6 hours. I'll get up, I'll try to stretch so I can work. Yeah, we're brewing tomorrow.
Right on, brother.
So yeah,
right on, brother.
Brew day is always fun. So,
do you do like a 40-hour week, or are you there a little bit longer? Is it 10 hours, 12 hours if need be?
Yeah, I mean that stuff happened early on. I mean when we were trying to get off the ground, I did some 80-hour weeks and stuff like that. But that's not. No, I'm pretty close to 40, maybe a little bit more. And because I'm in a management position, there's the odds and ends thing that come in after hours a little bit. The team's messages, the emails, what have you, texts or whatever. So there's some additional stuff like that. But I feel like they do. I feel like they do a pretty good job of trying to respect my time.
No, and I appreciate that, man. And I know you're booked up. I'm probably not going to drink 10 beers. Let me fill up one more beer. I'm going to come back. I want to ask you one question in regards to
sure.
your relationship with YouTube at this point. And
Sure.
All right, I'll be back.
Absolutely. Yep. But yeah, I guess just real quick, for those of you that don't know, because I did see a bump in subs, and I really appreciate that. What I try to do is I cover a lot of pro side discussions. There's a lot of carryover to homebrew side as well. Obviously, if you go to my YouTube channel and hit up the playlist, I have a ton of brew day stuff on there. So it's like full brew days. It's like if you're doing a brewer for a day and walking through that stuff with me. I do technique videos, tutorial videos that show how I handle the different equipment in the brewery. And then I have a lot of Q&A stuff. I do a live stream Q&A every month. Usually it's the first Friday of the month where I take listener questions, viewer questions, and answer those live. And then I cut those up into shorter videos because I do release a video a day. In 2023, I will release 365 videos. So I got a lot of content popping off over there. And I also do monthly, I do an industry professional interview. And like I said, this month, for June, this Friday, I'm going to be talking with Jenny Reed from 50 West, just a really cool woman who has her brewing degree from UC Davis, a prestigious American brewing school. And then also she's going to be breaking down a really popular tart fruit beer that she's making over there. So you will not want to miss that. Todd Porter, Anna Makes Beer. Can I send you my resume to come work a week of brew days and you pay me only in beer and laughter? Todd, I will laugh. Actually, that's a tough one. When the smaller the businesses that you're tied to, the easier it is to do stuff like that. The bigger business you are tied to, the more difficult it is for liability and different things like that. But yeah, I have done brew tours before. But yeah, so anyways. Who else is in there? What is the best West Coast IPA recipe? I think you're gonna have I would always go back to Vinny and see what Vinny's doing over at Russian River. Terrific interview on Craft Beer and Brewing podcast. It was a few months back, but it was like some brewers roundtable where they're talking West Coast IPA. If you want to dig in, if you want to dig in on how to be making that style in 2023, to go back and listen to that thing. That is probably the best 90 minutes or 2 hours of podcast information that Craft Beer and Brewing has ever had. Vinny and a couple other big baller West Coast brewers. So yeah, I would check that out.
I reached out to them in the beginning. I got no response. That was fine. That's fair.
Sure.
And, I think, Adam, you're probably the perfect amount of like Braj versus things to lose, because I've had some people that are like, I just can't go on there. I just can't go on there, like I'm going to do the wannabe Howard Stern shit and try to get you to say some shit you're going to regret. And it's going to be entertaining at the time. But if you've got a very good handle on it, I just don't know if that is their platform. And I did used to do a broadcast where I would just talk to people on camera or on, Spotify or whatever we were doing. And they'd be like, yeah,
Sure.
like we're all in this together. Like let's flatten the curve, wear a mask. And as soon as they got off, they were like, fuck Gavin Newsom, fuck California, like fuck, and I was like, that's what I want. I want the honesty, but I don't want you to like get fired from your job. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Just keep, driving around in cars with a mask on. And no, but you have a very good handle on the. You're not going to get in trouble by anything you say on this in the morning. And for starters, what did you say in the beginning? You drink 1 to 2 beers a week. I think you're like Nathan from Treehouse. I don't think that guy drinks either. I think if you have to be really successful in beer, you pretty much just have to be sober. You have to. I know, man. The Latter-day Church would kill it at brewing, man, or selling all the drugs. They would never get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? The Church of Latter-day Saints would just murder it, man. They would have the best employees, nobody getting high on their own supply. It's funny.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, you said you want to talk about
I wanted to say, like, how's your relationship with YouTube now as far as looking back to when you were first starting? Do you think maybe this is where you would be? Are you still finding time to do it? Has it affected, obviously, your relationship with your family, your people, dinner time, work time?
That's it's all good questions. So I feel like it's an interesting thing because because you've been doing homebrew for life for over 10 years, correct?
No.
How long have you? How many years have you been posting on YouTube?
Maybe the channel is 10 years old, but
okay. Because that's what I looked at, I think. But I mean, you've been doing it for a while. You know what I mean? So I'm in. So
I would say 2017.
Okay.
Same difference. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Sure. So I've been releasing videos now for like 13 months.
Okay.
How it's changed is I'm always surprised at what does well. I had one video on
your IPA video.
The IPA video popped well for me.
Good.
That was a good pop for me.
Good feeling.
Yeah. And then, some of the surprising things, like some of my videos that perform better than expected are stuff that I do on spunding and pressure fermentation.
Right.
And I think that's in part due because I think pressure fermentation is popping off more on the home side.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
And it also ties into lager brewing, and I do see some positive stuff with the lager things that I do. But it's interesting to me because I feel as if the growth has been good. I still release a video a day. I feel like the system that I have put together for what I'm doing is works well for that. I do lean very much on being content dense, right? I do a little bit of laughing here and there, but I'm really doing my best to explain as clearly as possible of what my path is as a brewer right now and how I'm trying to grow and what I'm trying to learn. So it has kind of morphed over the last year to where I was just kind of doing brew day videos and tutorials, but I'm still going to be doing some of those, but not as often. I'll be doing that as new techniques, as I adopt new techniques, stuff like that, as I do new things like the work with Incognito or different new products or newer products, what have you. Something I haven't worked with before. But then kind of doing the industry pro interview where I'm interviewing other pro brewers once a month. That's been new. And that's been a good source of new information for me. So that kind of keeps me like learning and going. And so really honestly, what my goal is, and this could sound, I don't want to sound like a douchebag saying it out loud. There's not that many guys doing
commercial brewing
content.
Right. It's all geared towards home brewing.
I feel like if the guy that I just hired wanted to like really go at it as a career, there's stuff he could dive into in my channel and it would be a fast forward button for them.
Sure.
I'm not saying I have all the answers or that I do everything perfectly, but I have some bare bones stuff there that can really help somebody jump forward. What I would love to do is because I would love to be the person that helps to train the next 10 years of people that are trying to apprentice into this industry. Because how is this information not on YouTube? It's YouTube. I mean, everything's on YouTube. Is Google.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
same sister company, same shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so I would love to be the guy in that space. Again, not like sitting on top of the mountain like I know everything and that I'm this guru, but rather I'm this guy that's
Here's your
in the trenches
experiences
with you.
Here's my
I'm the guy
experiences.
that's in the trenches right next to you, showing you what I'm doing. And I'm currently making a living doing this, right? So like, you know what I mean? But always also trying to be like, hey, like I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to grow too. So I think that's why I've caught less shit than I thought I would. I thought I would get negativity. Because that's always kind of what people that's always what people kind of say when you start doing this stuff. But I think I beat that drum enough to where I'm like, hey, listen, guys, this is just what I'm doing right now. It's based on this research, and I'm going to find out what it does for me. Like, I think I approach it in an exploratory enough way that, you know, if you want to come at me, you can, and people have.
Nah, man,
but
don't,
I mean,
don't worry about them.
by and large, it's just people are being good to me. It's almost all love on that stuff. So,
can I break your channel down? Can I give you a report card?
Yeah,
or just kind of the ins and outs. I got a super chat here from Juvenal Hernandez, man. Much love, man. Dunkel Modelo time. Dunkel Modelo time. We can't call it. That's an inside joke from a couple weeks ago. Much love, Juvenal, man. Maybe see you in San Diego in a week or two. Thank you for that $15, brother, man. Cheers to everybody who's here right now. We still got almost 50 people here, 2 hours in. Much love. I didn't even think about one of the things I wanted to tell you about up until now. But you're limited more in commercial brewing than home brewing because you can focus on recipes and you can focus on execution, but you can't focus on equipment. And some of our home brewing channels, our biggest videos are like what fermenter to buy or like all this like small little shit. You can't make those videos, you know, so you can't get those subs. And obviously you would know about that stuff if you were doing it at that scale.
Sure.
Not saying that should stop you at all. But you've definitely withstood the test of time, the pass of time. No homebrewing channel should be around at all. Talk to Larry. Talk to people that take Short Circuited Brian. You make a video, you break it back. Like, they shouldn't be around, and you have a good thing. I kind of emulate, you know, like, let's take a 4-minute thing. We'll do this and that. I think that's a good style. I just don't want you to get burned out, you know, because like guys I used to talk to, Nikita, the guy out there in England, gone. Prost with Peter. Good to see Portly coming back. Genius Bruin, you know, so it's just kind of this thing where like, we were talking about this last week where it's sad. We're like, oh, what happened to that channel? What happened with this? It's like, I dated a girl for 7 years and, I think in the beginning I thought like Homebrew for Life would be bigger and it would be more of like a full-time job.
Sure.
And it's not. I moved from one of the most expensive places in America to one of the cheapest places in America, and it's still not a full-time job, you know?
Sure.
And it was very stressful, you know. So when people were like, oh yeah, what's up with Prost? What's up with this? It's like there could be one Saturday where there's a guy and a girl that are like, let's go to the beach. Let's go camping. Let's go doing this. And you're like, no, I want to edit on my YouTube. I want to start a YouTube channel. And it could put a lot of strain on a relationship. So I just hope that's not happening with you. Cool. And because they'll never be a rock star. They'll never be I don't think they'll ever be a real full-time brewing channel. You know, brewing is the weirdest thing in the world. You know, I've been talking about this last week, you know, like everybody loves beer, every culture from the history of time, Europe, South America, this and that. 0.0001% of people care about brewing it, you know, like it's as big as coffee. It really is. Yeah. You go into everybody's house. It's a niche of a niche. You go into everybody's house. They've got this $1,000 $1 billion Starbucks espresso machine. Everyone's got their own, how to make your own coffee. no one just has like a beer system laying around, like,
Yeah.
so I just hope you don't get burned out. And I hope that, you just have a good handle on this with your time and your,
Sure.
and your 24 hours in a day that you have control
Sure.
over. Yeah. So,
And it is a tough thing. If I was doing this 5 years ago, I would be doing the same kind of stuff, but my personal life would be far worse. But
I know
where I'm at,
I'm not trying to
where,
laugh,
where
but
I'm at, no, it's true.
No, it's
well,
so true.
and and thankfully, like where I'm at right now personally, and where I am at with my relationship with my wonderful wife, like things are very good, and we manage it. We manage it pretty well.
Good.
The one thing, like, I don't think that I will be doing. I don't think I will be redoing or doing a video a day forever.
Right.
But what I want to do is when people find my channel, and especially if it's the right sub for me, like if it is that person that wants that behind the scenes look, it is that person that maybe wants to get in on the pro side, or is new on the pro side, or is dreaming of opening their own place. I want to have a library there that somebody finds that resource and says, "Oh shit, this is what I needed to find," right? And so, anyways, yeah, I don't think it will. I don't think it'll be 365 videos a year forever.
Right.
It might be longer than it needs to be because of my own personal neurosis.
Sure.
But first of all, I like that you asked that question, because it's a very human question,
And I have to hand it to you to
how
stick
difficult it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have to hand it to you because I don't know how you pulled off as is, And I remember when you were first reaching out to me, you were like, "Hey, can we do this? Can we do this?" And I was like, "I've just seen them come and go, so I can't really give you the time." And it's only fair. It's not a personal thing. It's like, this guy's not going to be around.
Absolutely.
And you just said you've been putting out content consistently for 13 months. So I owe this to you. You deserve this.
That's kind of you.
Yeah.
That's kind of you.
No.
And
that's
you know,
fair.
I mean, like, I feel like the other thing, the one thing that's nice is I feel like the YouTube channel has enough overlap with what I'm doing professionally. I think in a few different ways it's unique. It's essentially an online resume for me. Mm-hmm. And it gives me a platform and some leverage in the industry that I would not otherwise have.
Understood.
And I'm not saying that that's massive, or that I'm like, like some puppet master or something.
Nobody
like that.
is.
But
yeah.
The funny thing is like when you step into that, when you step into that space, sometimes that's just what it takes. You know what I mean? And so the cool thing is that I do feel as if it does help to magnify. Mm-hmm. I think they both help to magnify each other. Obviously, I couldn't be doing the pro side content the same way if I wasn't in a brewery working with the live footage from inside the brewery, and vice versa. So,
and I know that's tough as hell.
I'm hoping to have that. I think that's one of the things that makes it easier, and I'm hoping it's something that just elevates both sides of things for me. So
I like it, man.
Yeah.
Good answer. I think you got a good outlook. I think that that was the perfect answer. Like, might not be the same amount of content as your first 13 months as your next 13 months,
Sure.
but stick around when it's all the things are working, like I'm talking about, like, I was selfish with my YouTube thing. And I always thought there was going to be like a bigger video than it actually was. And my girlfriend would be like, "I thought you said you were going to clean the house or do the dishes." And you're just like, "It's my one day off. I'm editing. Like, can't you see? Like, I'm trying to do this for us." And she's like, "Well, I thought you were going to clean the house or like clean the garage or clean this." And it's just like, so I get it. And, even the video that I'm putting out tomorrow, like me and Kyle talking about new trends at breweries, people are doing the amateur wrestling and stuff like that. I think I edited that for like 4 hours today. So not just trying to find what I wanted and then going back and looking at,
Sure.
So I get it,
Sure.
man. It takes a toll and this and that, but I'm glad you're still around. At the end of the day, I'm glad you're still around, and I'm glad.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. So, and I know you're coming up. We're coming up to 11 o'clock, and I know you got to get out of here. Anything else you want to say before we kick rocks, man? I do appreciate the time, Adam. I think you're a big hit. I don't know what kind of trolls you get on your end, man, but I think you're definitely a fan favorite in this community, bro.
It's all good stuff.
It's always all good.
It's all good stuff.
Hey, dude,
man.
if once a week someone tells me I sound like a Down syndrome version of Nicolas Cage, man, like at this point, like it's good. Like it's you like that? Yeah, I get there's some variation, like his son or his bad clone or something, man.
I wish I didn't laugh as hard at that as I did, but that one caught me, man. That caught me.
No, I get it once a week, man. They're like, yeah, my wife thinks that too. I'm like, fuck, man, your wife knows what like a Down syndrome version of Nicolas Cage. Yeah. No, they go after me, man. But at the end of the day, man, like it's the internet. It's a shadow of nothing that's like doing something, man. And I don't have, I hope I don't have victim mentality, but like somebody called me this on the internet. Like, let's, nah, man, you put yourself out there. If the good outweighs the bad and the good has weighed the bad on Homebrew for Life by so far, it's, it's out of control. But I do get stressed out still with Homebrew for Life videos. There's some nights where I don't even think about food or I haven't showered, I'm just like, I like work on this. So I get it, bro. But, do your thing, maybe slow it down, maybe, spring break or something here. You can pick it up a little bit or you find a week off or something, man. But, just find that balance of YouTube. Just throw that into the balance of everything else, man. That's the best advice I could give. And again, like you have a family, a real job. I'm the guy that wakes up at noon and I'm like, do I play Zelda for 5 hours or do I edit, So... But no, it's all good. You ready to get out of here, Adam?
Yeah, brother.
This is a good one, man. I appreciate it.
Once again, I appreciate it. It was such a good time. We always have a good time.
We always have a great time, man. Adam, I got to come up to Cincinnati. I would love to come up to Lexington and then go to Cincinnati from there, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dude, I'm going to jump in the back and grab your mash paddle and be like, what does that do? What does that do? Take a picture of me. She's all blacked out. I'm going to
You can be that guy. That'll be great.
No. I'm kidding. And if I was that guy, I'd let you know beforehand so we could film like a sketch comedy thing of like what never to do. But no, man, Adam, it's been cool, man. You're a Braj, man. And
thanks, brother.
I'm going to get out of here right now. This is definitely not when you come on, we never have to take these things down. When it's the 4-hour rant and everyone wants to go down memory lane or talk about COVID and we look at it, it's like it's 5 hours in, like we're taking this down, man. But this is always good. This is up. I want to say one more thing. Adam Makes Beer, subscribe to his channel. There's a link in the description. That'd be cool if you guys check it out in the morning. I always love it when in the morning when you guys are like, oh, you took it down. I was listening to that on my way to work. Well, this time you don't have to write me that comment. So I appreciate that. But check it out. Follow him. Follow all of our stuff. Don't watch it. Just follow it. Just so we can see that number go up. And we can tell our wives or our girlfriends, like, we got like +1 cooler. Please. All right, everybody, let's get out of here. Have a good night, man. Hey, I'll see you. Hey, there's not going to be a stream next week. Might be a good time to do a Wednesday night stream. Not trying to say that, like, Wednesday night's my night, but I won't. I'll be in San Diego. Maybe you and Party Time James could do a stream. I know he hosts.
Okay.
Dude, hey, I'd reach out to him, Adam. That's a good stream. You and Party Time.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe reach out to him, and everybody have a good week, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.